Morning, everyone. My name is Jean Carlos Mota, but you can call me Jean. I am the editor-in-chief at IGN Brazil, and I'm pleased to tell you that I was invited from HBO Max to be the person who intermediate the questions that you guys made with the talents. And I just have a few things to tell you. First of all, you can film it, no worries. No, there is no embargo, okay? You guys post it as soon as possible, as soon as you want it. But we ask you, please, do not take pictures while we're talking with the talents, so the flashes and stuff do not, can be in the middle of the questions. You can take all the pictures you want when we finish. There will be a moment that you guys can take pictures with them when we finish, okay? We're here with our friends and family from the Brazilian press and influencers live, but also we're transmitting this online for the international media, all right? So this is a live one. And with no further ado, let me introduce you to the guys that you came to see. So just a second, I'm gonna get the correct order here. So first of all, the co-creators and executive producers, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. It's live, they're coming. There you go. Hi. Maybe you know them, right? And now, last but not least, the cast. Bella Ramsey, Pedro Pascal, Mo Dandridge, and Gabriel Luna. So here's the deal. Guys, I'm gonna tell who made the questions and which media outlet they are from. If you are here, please just wait for the talents can meet you as well, all right? There are some questions that more than one person did, so I'm gonna tell everybody who made this question, and then I will tell them, all right? There are some questions that maybe are more for the game fans and stuff, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you some context to make, so it's gonna be easier for everybody to understand the question, right? So let's go. Guys, this first question is from Juliana Brito from Coxinha Nerd, Alisson dos Santos from Mundo dos Heróis, Marcelo Quintana from Digplay, Alice Ribeiro from The Feminist Patron, and Luis Prisco from Metropolis. Are you guys here? Yeah, here they are. They made this question for you guys. This question is for Neil and Craig. What was the biggest challenge in transforming the game in a series, and what were the big difficulties?
Well, I think the biggest challenge was to consider that so much of the game is about immersion and about giving a player a chance to play through it. Well, television isn't like that. We watch it. It's a passive experience. So asking ourselves what parts of the story were easily translatable to drama, and then what parts of the gameplay experience were not necessary or should be transformed in a more serious way so that it's a better experience to watch. I think a lot of times in the past, video game adaptations have struggled because they try and replicate the play. We don't. We don't replicate the play. What we do is we're inspired by the story and the characters that Neil created, and we take them further, we do more, we show more. We give people a much more full experience to watch as opposed to play.
Yeah, for me, the most challenging part was maybe the weather. Well, you're always kind of chasing production things, but I think the most important part, to echo what Craig said, were the early conversations about what is the philosophy going to be like for this adaptation? What are the things that are essential to keep? And we talked a lot about the themes and the messages of the story and who these characters are and what is true to these relationships. And then how do we go beyond that and adapt it, right? Go from one medium that has certain strengths and weaknesses to another medium that has different strengths and weaknesses and can elicit different kinds of emotions. And that meant sometimes staying very, very true and sometimes deviating in really kind of interesting, fascinating ways that made it, well, I believe, a really compelling show.
Awesome. This next one is from Carlos Palmeira from Tecmundo. Are you here? There you go. And from João Bahia from Cine em Série. Are you good? No? Okay. For the cast, Pedro, Bella, Murrow, and Gabriel, how was your experience have been so far? And what did you learn with each character?
You're gonna look at me and I have to start? I think it's been fascinating for all of us. I'm sitting next to one of the original players, which is, I guess, a good way to start in describing that it's a different kind of source material than any of us have ever worked with before, but such an informative one. And I think that in a way we were all birthing. It's a great word, birthing. Together.
Ew.
Exactly. I knew if I said the word, it's just going to get worse from here. Although birthing is a beautiful, beautiful process.
Can you show us some pictures?
Anyway, Bella?
You can't make me carry on from just birthing. What do I say
So we were
now?
all like on the ground floor together of this experience of the television adaptation of Neil's brilliant game, but taking pieces from the original source in a way that I guess I've never had the opportunity to do before. Maybe Craig was nervous that we would watch too much of the game, play too much of the game, and want to emulate it a little too much. I think Bella and I secretly studied it and kept that from Craig and discovered that, sorry.
What?
But also like kind of to help put different puzzle pieces together that come from the original source material that we can put onto the incredible pages that were being written, the sets that were being built, the cast that, you know, we were all kind of in it together, pregnant and birthing together. And getting to kind of like put it all together in a way that I feel like none of us have gotten to do before with other stuff, you know?
That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. All of that. And the thing that we did sort of study the gameplay sort of with, neither of us are gamers, so we couldn't do the buttons, but we
tried.
Yeah, me too. We watched a bit, and I think that was important as well because we got episodes as we went along. So we didn't have all the episodes because Craig gave himself the impossible job of like, well, not impossible because you did it, of writing as we went along. So we didn't have all the episodes to start with. So I think that was where watching some of the gameplay was really important, is when we were shooting these earlier episodes to like know more backstory, and was cool. But yeah, having that source material was amazing, and we shot for a year, and with lots of different weather conditions. And yeah, I'm really proud of what we made.
I want to hear from you because I want to hear what it was like to do both. I'll take over the questions.
You mean, what was it like to birth and go back in the womb and rebirth?
And get pregnant again and have the same child.
It was, I would have to say that doing it in a different medium with the intimacy of a new framework around it might have been my biggest challenge, because I did have to forget a lot of things that I knew about Marlene, and because I'd been living with her as of this month, Neil, 10 years since we first met, and my experience around and the family and nucleus with which I came to understand this world was completely different. Well, not completely different, but it's as if, lifting it out and putting it in a different context. And I had never, except for, no, I can't say never because we did a stage version too, really walked in her shoes, and I felt like that I was very insecure about that, about like, how do you physically manifest that? But what was wonderful is having such a fantastic team that, one, loved and cared about this story and the characters and being so true. Not just us, but like everyone who worked on the show cared so much about elucidating some of the beautiful, most wonderful things about the story in the game, but bringing it into a new fruition and being able to have like this collaboration and, you know, the exhaustive conversations, you know, to like really get into the artistry. You don't get that all the time. And so it was such a wonderful and thrilling experience, even though I felt, you know, taken out of my normal, I guess, womb from which I normally live in this character. And that might have been a great gift for me to be separate from that and explore him in a brand new context. It was scary and it was wonderful.
I guess for me, my introduction to the material was, I guess in 2013 when the original game came out. I didn't have a PlayStation, so I went to my buddy's house and we were hanging out and he had a PlayStation. So I just popped it in, I started playing it. And it was, you know, I think nowadays, Austin, Texas is a lot more in the modern media. At the time, it wasn't. So it just felt very exciting. I was born and raised in Austin, and I'm playing this game that takes place in Austin, begins in Austin. I found it really exciting. Didn't get to finish it because it was his play. You know, I just started it, never finished it. Flash forward to last year, and we were talking about doing the show. So I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and do my research. I'm a gamer. I enjoy playing games, and I had this great opportunity to ignore my chores and tell my wife. She tells me to take out the trash. I was like, baby, I'm working. I can't. And, you know, explore the game and learn about it and learn about the characters and it was brilliant. I mean, it was very hard I had to play it in doses, you know, maybe like an hour at a time because of how dense the story was and how impactful a lot of the events are and how emotionally taxing it was. So I could only really play for about an hour at a time. It took about 2.5 months and I finished the whole, both games. You know, then we get to work and while, you know, Craig is saying that for the audience, television, obviously more passive experience, but as the player in the moment, on the day, in the place, I was fully immersed in this world. I mean, you know, I've been on some big ones, but this one was, you get dropped onto this set, and it's a full 360 experience. I mean, John, our production designer, and all the entire team, they built all these textures that Neil and his team, you know, his army of computer graphics engineers and teams that you know, but there it was, flesh. I could touch everything, and I thought it was really exciting. And I got to be kind of a consultant on whether or not it looks like Austin, Texas. Yeah, so that looks good. But extremely thrilling and enjoyed every minute of it. I missed most of the weather. I was lucky. I shot mostly in the summer, but I had a few days in the winter.
That's not true at all. We were there.
I was there in the winter as well, but. Not in negative 30 degrees or anything. Oh no, don't know what I mean. Anyway, I missed all of that, thankfully. But yeah, it was amazing.
All right. Our next question is from Beatriz Lopez from Kane. I don't know if she's here. Yeah, there she is. Do you guys, this is for the cast, okay? Do you guys feel prepared to deal with this gamer audience? What do you think? Yeah.
Careful.
What do you think?
They're all really nice. They're all super nice, super chill.
Sure. Yeah, they are. We are all. What do you think that will make The Last of Us stand out from other adaptations about apocalyptic universes? Just to give a context, most of the cast has been involved already with geek, you know, works like Game of Thrones or Half-Life 2. So.
I'll start.
I just love how he said we've all been involved with geeks.
Yeah, me too.
Start there.
Well, I think I understand, like, if you've, like you're saying, it's such an immersive experience playing a game, and you spend so much time with these characters and, like, being them and interacting with them. And so I understand, like, the attachment that people have to these characters and to the story, and the almost protective element over, like, these people that they've spent so much time with and have an idea of who they are. And I think, yeah, like, I think I fully understand that. So, like, people's concerns about it, I I get, but I think that we've done a good job. And I think that, yeah, I'm not worried. It's gonna be fine. And if people hate the show, they hate the show.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I know you said that was for the cast, but I just want to add one thing, which is when I played The Last of Us for the first time, I had no feelings about Joel or about Ellie because I didn't know them. And when I first met Joel, he's just a guy sitting on a couch and it's his birthday and he's tired. First meet Ellie, she's just in a room and she's slightly annoying and I don't know her. And the point is, over the course of the journey, that's how you fall in love. Well, everyone's had that journey as game players, and so they have fallen in love. And Bella's absolutely right. They are incredibly protective, and it is an emotional connection. It's a relationship. And we are kind of asking people, we want to start over in this new medium, which means it's okay to be like, well, I don't know these people. I don't have the same feelings for them. You will. And I think you will have even more. That's my boast.
That was, I like that.
Well, I think that I understand ownership, especially because I'm a big consumer of TV and film, and I fall in love with characters, and I freak out if I meet the actor playing, such and such on
Mandalorian.
Exactly, right. But this is taking it to another level because it's a literally immersive experience, and you're, in the world of the character and making choices and dying and then saving and et cetera, et cetera. But I will say, I have no idea if we pull it off, but they did for sure, because they love it so much. They love as much, if not more, what all of the most in love gamers love about it's like birthing.
And we are the obstetricians.
But you have like the creator and the most in love creator of his work, and they got together.
You guys are more like doulas.
They're making this for you, with all with their entire hearts and their little brains. Just kidding. And so I don't know. I think everybody's in good hands.
I know.
Oh, she knows. That's right. That's right.
I know.
There you go.
And you can glean from what these folks have said, and I hope you can get the passion from Craig. It's as if your parent handed you off to a trusted relative, and the partnership between these two, I felt held and loved. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think I'm a terrible crier all the time. There was never a day I did not cry on this set because I was so viscerally moved by everything. I've lived with this world. I've lived with these characters. And when I first set foot on set with these two in the costume, I am viscerally connected to those characters. And I would say to meet them in person, on that set, and to interact with them in the flesh, Joel and Ellie in their iteration, so moving to me. And it was because not only are they extraordinary talents, but because these gentlemen also were working hand in hand to make sure that your love of this story was elucidated and carried and elaborated. And I cannot tell you how in love I am with that process. Every little bit that I saw was so much honoring it, and then expounding on it in a way that you cannot even imagine. Your hearts will break wide open in a new way, even if you've been living with it these years. I promise you.
Just to add to that, we're just a small fraction of the people that worked on this show, and walking on set, and you could just feel the love people had for this material. I remember the first day I was on the set, I'm walking around Joel's house, and I have to take a meeting for Naughty Dog. I have to do a Zoom call. So I'm like looking for a quiet spot. I'm like, I'll go here. And I'm like, I'm in Sarah's room. And I'm having a Zoom call with a bunch of people back at Naughty Dog. And I'm like, look at the sheets, look at the poster, look at everything. They got it right. It was such a unique, surreal feeling. and you all have pulled it off and then some. I can't wait for everybody to see the show. It's like, well, I'm biased. So I'll tell you another kind of short anecdote. I would normally have like Zoom calls, because I work a lot remotely quite often now with Naughty Dog. And I'm like, okay, you got to check it out. I have something new from the show. And like, I have a bunch of people. And when I share my screen, I can't see their faces because I optimize for video. And I'm showing them a clip, or I'm showing them a new trailer. And then I come back and I see their face again, and they have tears coming down their eyes, because not only is it good, and it's good for what we've made as a game. Like, it really honors this thing that people back in Naughty Dog slaved on for years, and they feel it, and they feel that you have all pulled it off. So I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Well, I have a tricky question here from the team from EA Games, from TNT Sports. Are you guys here? There you go. They have a tricky question for Pascal. Yeah, hope you're ready. Pedro.
Is it about birthing?
I'll make it about birthing.
Pedro, since you were born in Chile, and Chile is not in the World Cup.
Wow. Wow.
It wasn't me.
And there he goes. That just seems unnecessary.
Violent in here real quick.
Don't bring the messenger.
It's not your fault. It's not
Don't
your
bring the
fault.
messenger. Who you're rooting to be the last of the World Cup for the champion?
Let's see.
It was Brazil. Ale, 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 Brazil, Brazil.
Okay, if you said Argentina, I would go, but okay. All right, next question. This is from Luan Ribeiro from Art Cult. Are you here? Okay. And from Marco Victor from Jornada Geek. There you go. This is for all the cast. Was there a scene that you guys made that touched you in some way to the point that you got emotional? And how was your reaction when seeing the clickers for the first time face to face? Just to give a context for people who haven't played, The Last of Us is not only about survival, but about emotions, bonds, and a lot of danger.
Should we go left or right this time?
What was the first question?
Okay, no worries. If there is any moment that touched you.
Oh, yes.
And
Well, I mean,
how was to meet the clickers for the first time?
I think, it was constant. It was a constant state of being a raw nerve the entire time, you know. A lot of my stuff with Pedro, obviously, was very touching because I have a younger brother. I'm the older brother, so we kind of flopped roles. But that was impactful. And the second question was, remind me again, please.
Where did you go?
I don't know. I
The
blinked
second
out.
one?
Were you thinking about Mexico?
How was to?
I was thinking about the World Cup.
Birthing.
Yeah. Oh,
How was your reaction when you met the clickers for the first time?
Oh, yeah.
Face to face.
Well, I loved. We had Terry Notary on for our movement consultant, and Terry, of course, if you know Terry, I mean, he's a master, and so I really engaged with it through what I wouldn't call it choreography. I would, whatever the essence of what it was, more the essence of the body moving than it was the makeup and the prosthetics, which were obviously incredible. And I got to see, obviously you're in the makeup trailer, you got to see a lot of the prep for all of that. So I don't want to say too much. I feel like I've already said too much earlier.
You've already
so
said
I'm just
too much.
Right? We don't know if Tommy's seen a clicker.
No one needs to know.
Hello. Gosh, I really wish that we'd had. I wish. Anyway, that's a spoiler too, right? Just stop talking, Merle. You know what? I will say the very first time. Pedro, do you remember the first time that we saw each other like on set?
Yes, I do.
It was at the bathroom. We were like walking out and we're like, oh my God, look at you. Oh my God. Look at you. You look so great. How you doing? Oh my God. And I think our first moment together is the first time that I ever met you, Bella. And for the complicated maternal relationship that Marlene has with Bella, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because she's so magical, but like that, I had that from the first sight, and I just was so. And our first scene was so wonderful and beautiful. What was the thing about when were you moved on set?
Sorry, if there was, what was the scene or when was the scene that you get touched or emotional?
I did a lot of lurking because it was so astonishing to see it manifest. And I did that same thing that Neil did. Look at this! Oh my gosh, look at that! I can't even believe it. And I kept texting him like photos, like look at me standing with this. Like I was at some, I don't know, I was being ridiculous, but I was always in a state of constant emotion. So much that I was like, what is wrong with me? I was so moved by everything. But I will say I did have a moment, and I won't give a spoiler about it, but the scene with which on the day that I met Neil over 10 years ago, the scene of that was my audition scene, being able to, when I first met Marlene, being able to do that in this piece was wildly amazing.
There are a lot of emotions that are experienced throughout the season and story of The Last of Us. I got to see every variation of what happens when the fungus crosses over into the human DNA. Right? And the birthing process of the fungus and the human. Bella? I'm going to say something. I saw everything, so I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Sure. This is a hard question to not give spoilers. But yeah, there's a lot of emotions. And I think some of our later scenes together, I think we shot for a year, and I think
Like a year of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. It's torture. But then I think when you've been spending that much time with the crew and the cast, then it becomes more emotional. I think the deeper you get. So I think towards the end as well, and also we knew that it was going to finish. So all the emotions towards the end.
I've never had the experience before where, because we were there shooting for a year, meeting each other for the first time, the characters meeting each other for the first time, natural sort of walls that are up between characters, between people conscious or unconscious, nerves, expectations of one another, of us, and to be in it together in a shooting process, and for the characters to kind of be parallel to this experience and to gradually like open up to one another, and everything was really special.
We get to see it all, and they don't. So what's interesting is they experience emotions in the moment, and when they're experiencing emotions in the moment, we are usually going, her shirt opened up in the wrong way, or somebody moved back there.
Yeah, we loved that, by the way.
It's a good thing we did it, because when we put it all together, that's where we start feeling the emotions. And what's been fascinating is, over the course of these months putting the show together, what happens to me now is sometimes I'm watching a scene where Joel and Ellie are in a car together and they're having a conversation that isn't emotional, and I will start to cry because I know where it's going and I know what's going to happen to them, which is beautiful.
Don't cry now.
I
God,
can't help it. I can't.
Don't make it weird.
That's the way I am. I'm birthing tears. And that's how I know that we all did a great job. We all did a great job because it all comes together. And I love You know, it's funny, Gabe, you're talking about playing the game 1 hour at a time, and what's beautiful about this method and the way we do shows at HBO is we get to start and stop a story over and over, and beginnings are beautiful and endings are beautiful. And we have all of these beginnings and endings and beginnings and endings until you get to the end, which comes all the way back to the beginning, and it all ties together. And every bit of work that they did, all of the heart and soul that they put into it, and their anger and every emotion a human can have, it's all there and it works. It's so compelling, and I can't wait for you all to see it.
Yeah, we have time for one more question, and this one is for you, Neil. It's from Rodrigo Folter from Canal Tech. There he is. The Last of Us impacted a lot of other games in the last decade. What do you wish that it could be the biggest impact in this media?
Sometimes I get asked the question, like, why even adapt this thing? You know, the game was so good, it's connected with so many people. Why go down this road at all? Like, all you could do is lose. I see it a different way, which is some people, like some people here, don't play games. So they won't get to experience the story. And I think the thing that we created, Naughty Dog, is worth translating over to this other medium. My biggest hope is that someone will watch this show and be moved by it, and then be like, wait, that's based on a video game? You mean like Pac-Man and shit? And they'll realize there's this whole other medium that's rich with storytelling and experiences. That's what I hope will come out of this.
Awesome. All right, I think this is it for us now. Yeah? Okay, so first of all, I would like you guys to give a very warm round of applause for this team, because they're awesome. And I'd like to invite you guys to stand up so they can now take their pictures, you know, and thanks HBO for the invitation.
Great question, though. Yeah.
The messenger, please.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.